All right. I'm going to say call on Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakadash. All right. That's all praises to the Most High, whose name is Yahweh in the original Hebrew tongue, and the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, who people call Jesus, whose true and actual name is Yahweh Shai. All right. Much respect, biblical love, peace, and many blessings. Salutations to the elder apostles and elder bishops over the Great Millstone Church, on to the rest of the Akim. All right. Pushing this true gospel. All right. I'm living of it. So, true faith, sincerity. So, getting into this, man, this is a post I seen from an elder. The elder GMS North Carolina. All right, 777, and I seen this and I was just like, man, this is really becoming a Salakia. It's just becoming it's not a stereotype. It says my first time linking, as you see on the screen, with her, and she want me to pay her bills. Can't believe it. He out, right? This stuff really going on. It's not just an epidemic anymore. It's something that's becoming common, and to where it might come. You're coming across. You might come across this very thing. But my point isn't that. It's more so the fact that, you are coming across it, because a woman, if she lost, bro, she numb to everything. Like she's able to bring forth. She's gonna bring forth things of this nature. So you should already know this and be equipped to deal with this. It's warranted. If you burning, if you're looking to deal with these women, let alone obviously a Eve. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand what comes with a lost woman, because this woman indeed, this Eve is indeed is a Israelite woman is indeed a lost woman. All right. Who meaning she doesn't have a whiff of basically truth. That dawned upon her, or really marinated in her mind. Because if it did, it would be, I guess, harder for it to be like this. But because it's not about them being in the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because no woman is really in the truth. We're in the truth. All right. A woman could never be in the truth like a man. Which, if you want things done like to its fullest potential, like in general, you would get that through, a brother. You know what I'm saying? Brothers are able to perform, like, knowing the truth, being in the truth to its fullest potential. You know what I'm saying? More so than a woman, because she the weaker vessel. So it's less about that, and it's more so, because you still gonna have issues there, but it's more so just like we still have issues, but it's more so about, the woman just being completely lost. Meaning she don't have a whiff of who she is, a whiff of understanding, really none of it. So she's liable. You're liable, to deal with anything. She can come with anything, some of everything. All right. So let me get my first scripture. Go to first Timothy 5 and 1, and it's spiritual because it says advice about widows, elders, and slaves. And a widow is someone who, doesn't have their husband, in their presence, if you will, anymore. It says First Timothy 5, and I just said it like that so to keep my point clear, right? So you can follow me. First Timothy 5, and I'm gonna jump down to the point, verse 6. But she that liveth in pleasure, right? I can read this in the LTD, I'll read it in the KJV. But the widow who lives only for pleasure is spiritually dead even while she lives. So that widow is obviously one that's without. If I said father, I meant husband. Salaki, I think that's what I said. A widow is someone that's without their husband. If I did say husband, we good then. But I meant husband, nonetheless. So a widow is someone that's without the husband, you know, in her presence. Her husband in her presence, which is spiritual because Israel's husband, the nation of Israel, the nation of Yasha Allah's husband is who? The Heavenly Father. You see? And that father, right, like that husband, or that husband like that father, you know, he puts the woman, he leads the woman, he directs the woman, he gives her, the understanding, the knowledge and understanding she's supposed to have so she can be in her lot. He gives her the instruction, like our Heavenly Father, you know. He molds her in the way that she needs to be, Simple. All right? The potter with the clay, Sarah called her husband Lord. So it's all basically one and the same. So, you got you hard-headed sisters out there that might not like what I just said. Or, don't you mold me and blah, blah, blah. Like, you got to get molded somehow. You getting molded regardless. And if you're not being molded by the Lord, you're being molded by your influences and your events, and upon yourself, which is why y'all coming out all types of ways. But to stay on the point, so that's that. So when you go to verse 6 in the KJV, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. So meaning what? As you see these, if she lost, bro, she numb to certain understanding and making sense and not saying some outlandish stuff and, conducting herself in an outlandish way or conducting herself in a way to where you like, all right, I gotta bounce. Cause she dead. She's gonna be numb to those things. When you're dead, you're numb to certain things, and that's more so my point. Like all these women, you could come across. If they're any woman you come across that's lost, I'm talking about women know truth and all that. I've said a woman that's lost. Look, bro, expect her. She's gonna be numb to certain things. She could be numb to all logic. All emotional restraint, control. She could be numb to, integrity, faithfulness. She can be logic, numb to a family, submitting to a man, her husband, she could be numb to the idea of, raising children. She be numb. She could be numb to these things, numb to the idea of putting a dress on, So this is what you dealing with, man. All right? Because of the times we in. So this is how you have a woman like this saying my first, that having said about her, my first time linking with her and she want me to pay all her bills. Why? Because she lost, and she's obviously been lost. Because it'd be scary if she was once knew the truth and then, she was, if you will, fell away from it. I mean, you dealing with somebody worse than somebody that never knew. But majority, 9 times out of 10, 9 probably 6, 7 times out of 10, she lost. She don't got no whiff. So basically, if she never, man, it's crazy, bro. I'm gonna read it one more time. I'm gonna get, bro, maybe one more. It says 1 Timothy 5 and 6, and 10. I didn't intend on this to be long. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure, right, is dead while she liveth, right? So she hasn't been tending to the commandments, statutes, and judgments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. She's gonna be numb to certain sense, you know what I'm saying, and numb to, things she need in order you need from her in order for you to build with her or for y'all to build together, or for her to, be able to be around long. You know what I'm saying? These things give in charge that they may be blameless. All right, in the NLT, these give these instructions to the church so that no one will be open to criticism. Exactly. You know, and that go with women supposedly professing godliness. You know what I'm saying? As well. Like if look, um, but don't got you know, she's single or whatever. You know, she basically a spiritual. She's limited on what knowing. She don't really know what's going on. In a way, you can say she's a widow, a spiritual widow, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Because she's without, you know, the guidance of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah that you'll give her. All right, because she's supposed to be following, you know, your wisdom that you got from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. If you got that, you'll be fine. All right. So, if out and outside of that, if she's supposedly professing godliness but don't understand that, you could basically say she without the Father, man. So that woman, even though you meet her, she talking about she knows she is a light and all that. She's liable to bring forth anything. Cause why? In the grand scheme of things, in a way, she's basically lost. You know what I'm saying? She's cause she's numb. She's dead to certain things. And that only can be again when you're not tended to or don't have the knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know? So, and it's specifically talking about these women that's in the world. So if you meet a woman that's in the world,
Strong's G 4684 Spatalao.
not even just in, but specifically of the world. See that? Of the world. 'Cause everybody gonna be amongst the world to a degree, you know, and at some point, you know, as well. But those most the women that's of the world, hey, just expect she's dead, bro. So meaning she numb to certain things, and that's how you have this epidemic. It says to live luxuriously, lead a voluptuous life, give oneself to pleasure. See, not to Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. You know, so of course she's not gonna give herself the sense. You know, saying shit like she wants you to pay all her bills. You ain't even know her because in the time of them, like before these women you meet, you know, if they're lost, I mean the Lord never called them. They never, you know, had no one just of any type of truth in their life. They've been in idleness the entire time. So they which is most of these women. So they just become all types of things and creatures, remade creatures. You know, you know, they might come with anything. It's where they come with anything, because it tell you in Sirach 33 and 27, send him to labor that he be not idle, right? For idleness teacheth much evil. See that? For idleness teaches much evil. So, she's in her idleness. And what does it truly mean to be idle? Not tending to the commandments, statutes, and judgments of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, the knowledge and understanding, prophecy, you know, the order of things, you know. It ain't gotta be, you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna be everything, but you know, just a whiff of this. Hey, they in there to not be doing so is you know, intended to the little bit you do have and hold to it. It's you know, of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah is idleness. So you just on your own out here like a stray, you know, and you like Tarzan, you like goddamn, you know, Simba. So when you meet them, and like I said, they, you know, are products of that or examples of that, expect for them to come with all this crazy stuff, any and everything. All right, because it's talking about servants, which is what woman mean. All right.
Idleness.
It says, so a woman that's lost, aka of the world, she's been all caught up in the world, right? she hasn't been given she doesn't have or haven't been given the commandment statutes, the knowledge of Yahweh Shemi Al Shad. She's been one that's been left to do what? Let's go here real quick. Proverbs 4:7. It says, my bad, 4 and 5. Where we at? No, 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. They've been one that's been left unto her, that's been left to their own understanding. You see what I'm saying? So she's been left to make up all, get it how she lived. Develop how she needs to develop to make a way for herself. So you just be the thing. Like basically, you might meet someone that's part Frankenstein, complete Frankenstein, the arm of Frankenstein. She got a screw from Frankenstein. Just a complete creation. What she became through the world, the spirits, the winds out here. Esau, his world, the so-called white man's world, working on her, man. Through his many minions. Such as her cousins. It could be her mother. It could be her family. Her so-called friends. The damn influence she gets through the new TV, because the new TV is the phone in her hand, from the likes of Lottos and these women call lot name these rapper women, SoundCloud rappers and all this shit, Glorilla, sexy, so-called sexy red and all this other crap, She's done picked up on stuff that's, stick all this, man. How to survive men and all. There's all these ideologies she's developed. Because she's been what? She's been lost. She's been in her idleness, So it's certain things she's you just gotta expect it, man. Proverbs 1, just to prove that, and I'm gonna close out. Proverbs 1 and 31. I'm gonna start at 30. It says, they would none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way. See? Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices, like Eve. And that's what Eve did in the garden. She wasn't tending the statutes and judgments of Yahweh Shemi Al Shah, of Yahweh. And she ended up, basically in her idleness, through that, which is her idleness, leaning upon her own understanding, picking up fruit that she wants to eat, caught up in the world, lost. A woman of the sauce. This is Genesis 3 and 1. Now there was a serpent. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh has made, and said unto the woman, and he said unto the woman, had Yahweh said, had the power said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, right? Yahweh, the power said, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the power do know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So all the shit going on, and getting in her thoughts, it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband, and he did eat. See that? So she was in her idleness. A woman has been left to be all in her imagination and not tended the commandment, statutes, and judgment, Yahweh Shemi Al Shah. They're gonna start. That's what we talking about. All right. So going back to idleness, it says what? Endless. Avoidance
Indolence.
of activity is a synonym to idleness, right? Or exertion. Laziness. Inactivity.
Inactivity.
State of being inactive. Idleness. All right. Unemployment.
Unemployment.
See, so she's basically a bit. She's of one that's a busybody. You know, she's in the so she got some of everything going on. You know, yeah, I got school tomorrow. I gotta go do this. I got blah blah blah. You know, ain't no telling what personality traits or events gonna hit her, or people in her life, or things she might have at home, or so forth and so on, man. And I ain't saying you gotta go that deep, but I'm just saying the scriptures tell you, you become one flesh. So you taking all the what's of her onto yourself, you know, and that's what her madness. You know what I'm saying? So I can go on and on about it, but that's basically the point. All right. So where was we at? I'm gonna close out in that Timothy again. All right, because it's just giving you brothers a heads up, because the scriptures tell you what. There's another one I wanted to get real quick. It tell you Paul told you in 1 Corinthians in the 7th chapter, if you marry, you don't sin, but you gonna have trouble in the flesh. 1 Corinthians 7:28. But and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, right? Right, and the key word, he say virgin. A lot of these women, like I said, if she might have 40 dudes, bro. Talking about, yeah, I gotta go. You just gotta be aware of that, man, cause she lost. She lost, bro. She might tell you, like, yeah, I gotta go see. She might actually say something like that. Yeah, I gotta go see my other dude. My other dude, I'm gonna make you my list, nigga. And it could be, you mainly gonna get that from these Israelite women, cause they fucking out of their mind, they curse. Nevertheless, it says, and if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh. See, nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. And that's why Paul, like, look, man, you really stay away from it, but ultimately know what you're getting into if you do. What comes with it. Why? Because of the stake Jake in. It's not the kingdom. Our women's still in a weak state right now. Hence, they always gonna be the weak. I can't even say they gonna be nothing. We're not gonna be weak in the kingdom, man. She's still gonna be under, but there's not gonna be no weakness to our woman. If you will. She's just always gonna be a lesser form than us. And they're not those women right now. Just how we're not the men we are. But see, with knowing that, she more vulnerable to be all types of ways. So again, if the woman lost, bro, she is try that. She just expect all of it. If the woman lost, like she's of the world, she all that, right? And you trying to deal, just know that's a woman that's dead. Hence idle. Like a dead body. It's idle. It's not moving. It's been inactive. So she just knows she's gonna be numb to a lot of things. She might be numb to certain things. Cooking, what's that? You actually still cook? I don't cook, all of that. Now you gonna cook all my food, cause why? She lost, bro. That's what you gonna deal with. That's why I says you're gonna have trouble in the flesh. We are in a severe ass time right now. And that's more so where Paul was coming from. I know I said I was gonna be done, but I want to read that same one in the NLT so you can see this, man. I'm gonna close out. I don't want to write this out. It says, let me see. Yep. 1 Corinthians 7:26. It says, I'm gonna start at 25 now. I'm gonna start it in the NLT. Now, regarding your question about the young women who are not yet married, I do not have a command from the Lord for them, but the Lord in his mercy has given me wisdom, right? Through what? Much travel. Paul got experience. He done seen things. He done learned things. He done seen it from others. He done took heed. You know the scriptures, right? But the Lord in his mercy has given me wisdom that can be trusted, and I will share it with you. Because of the present crisis, I think it is best to remain as you are. So if you ain't got no woman, don't get one. If you got a woman, don't seek to be loose, man. Cause like, it's crazy, man. You can shift, things for worse, you know, out of your life or into your life. So in the KJV, I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. I say that is good for a man so to be. All right. If you do not have, and art thou bound unto a wife, seek not to be loose. Art thou loose from a wife, seek not a wife. All right. And I'm gonna close this out here because why? Most of our women, they lost, bro. And being lost means she's idle. She hasn't been tending to the commandments, statutes, and judgments, of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. She's probably of the world, and don't have a lick of nothing. But it says, and ultimately she's dead. She's been she's inactive. She's like a dead body. So there's certain things she's gonna be numb to again. But she that liveth in pleasure, 1 Timothy 5:6, is dead while she liveth. And when and that's talking about spiritually dead. See that? So expect her to not be numb to, don't expect for her to, be numb to being, indiscreet, inconsiderate, outlandish, shame-faced, not have, having shame when it comes to certain things and actions. It's expected, bro. Manners. The bitch might be just nasty, burping, all type of shit. Fucking, pass gas or some shit all in front of you. Like, you dealing with monsters, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not ladylike, So, numb to her feminine qualities for the better. All right? Oh, man. My first time linking with her and she want me to pay her bills. It's expected, man. It's warranted these times. So I'm going to say call on like Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai or Howard Kakadash. You ain't going off if you ain't dealing with a woman, but with having that foresight of through this understanding, you able to, better decide if you want to deal and better adjust, be more equipped and ready, prepared to adjust, you know what I'm saying, and not get, caught off guard or hit with something out of nowhere, All right, so Lord, when that made sense, call on my Shalom.